Okay, welcome to a brand new video, and we are here in Astana, the capital of Kazakhstan. Okay, so I've literally just arrived from the airport, and kind of like first impressions, it's very interesting because obviously, if just a little bit about Astana. Astana is the capital. It was formerly called Nur-Sultan until January this year, January of 2023. It was named after the first president, but there's kind of mixed feelings about him. But before it was called Astana as well. It's a relatively new city, maybe around 30 years old, and it was a planned capital, kind of like Canberra in Australia and Washington DC. But it's very, I don't know, it's very empty. It's very big, very empty, kind of gives like Dubai road vibes, but there's no car, well, not many cars, and there's just loads of beautiful but very strange looking architecture. Okay, so this beautiful kind of tent looking building here is a shopping mall. It's right opposite my hotel, so I am staying at the Marriott, which is just there. One thing to say about Kazakhstan, so obviously it's like 11:30 a.m. and they're like, the room is not ready until 3 is the check-in time. I'm like, okay, fair enough, whatever. In Uzbekistan and Kyrgyzstan, they check you in immediately. But over here in Astana and Almaty, what I've found is that all the hotels are fully booked. And I don't know whether that's because they've had a complete influx of tourism that they just don't know how to handle, and they basically haven't got enough hotels, or if they've got events going on here in Kazakhstan. I mean, August is the season to come here because, you know, for example, in Astana it can get to minus 40 degrees Celsius in the winter. But I don't know, it's just, obviously it's annoying because you want to check in, but it's also quite interesting because they just never have rooms. If you want to book last minute, they just don't have it. So make sure you book well in advance if you are coming here. So it's still very empty. I mean, it's very beautiful, and it's got nothing but your kind of conventional stores: Marco Polo, Tommy Hilfiger, EA7, Calvin Klein, Starbucks. But like, maybe it's because it's 12 and it's a Sunday today, but it's empty. And I feel like this is going to be a common theme in Astana in general, is it's going to be very empty. Okay, for example, let's look. We're in Zara, and I'm just having a look at this t-shirt, right? Check the price. It's 14,000, which is like basically times that by 2, because like there's 500, almost 600 actually. So it's around £25. So it's not cheaper here. To be honest, I found Kazakhstan to be quite an expensive country considering the other places in the region. It's just like very standard. There's like nothing special about this mall. Maybe I'll see when we get to the food court if there's a Baskin Robbins, it wins the prize. But if not, then it's just another mall. So it's nothing special, but the building is very beautiful from the outside. And we have a winner. I don't know if it's called this, again similar to the McDonald's, because they've removed it from Kazakhstan, or if it is actually Baskin Robbins. This is very interesting though. This is really, really awful, guys. I'm sorry if I'm not smiling in the video, by the way, because I'm in a lot of pain, crampy pain. And so I keep having to kind of stop and then start again. So I'm currently just sitting here by the mosque, which is absolutely stunning, beautiful. It's not a one of its kind. There are a lot of mosques in Almaty as well, which are gold domed. So it's like a theme here in Kazakhstan. Not all of them are, but there are a few. But it's beautiful nevertheless. It's called the Abu Nasr al-Farabi Mosque. And it's beautiful inside as well. So definitely go check it out. The goal is basically to walk behind all these buildings. There's an avenue, and again, if you look up Astana, you'll probably see that kind of symbol there. That is probably the most famous thing here in Astana, and it's a symbol of the city. So there's an avenue to walk down, kind of like the Champs-Élysées in France. So I'm basically going to need to go and find that, do that, and take some photos. Okay, let's get going. I think a lot of Astana is, well, I was going to say it's a walking city, but it's a lot like Dubai in the sense that you look on a map and it looks really close. But because the roads are so wide, it's difficult to cross. There's not many places you can, cross the road. It's not very easy to either. So I don't know if it's a walking city as such, but you can walk it. It is a nice walk, but it is a bit far. So just bear that in mind. It's not as close as it looks on Google Maps. So this is what I mean kind of about the architecture. You've just got all these different buildings, all kind of trendy, new, and it looks really nice and it's really interesting. And then alongside you've got there's a few shopping malls actually on either side, and then you've got some restaurants as well. Not that many, but there are a few. I don't think it's as easy to find food here in Astana. They have kind of your typical Navat cafe, which if I haven't mentioned before, it's like a very famous cafe here in Central Asia that you should definitely try out. They've got Navat, they've got some restaurants that they have in Almaty, but they don't have that many, to be honest. Okay, so we've made it to the park with it's called the Bayterek Tower. So really beautiful. It's a symbol of Astana. And I'm not going to spend too long here because, to be honest, I'm going to come back when it's light, when it's lit up in the night. That's the Ritz-Carlton. Probably the best hotel here in the city. So you can go up the tower as well, but I'm undecided. If I do that, it'll probably be tomorrow. If you look at the skies, it's a bit ambiguous as to whether it's going to rain or not, and if it rains it will be a thunderstorm. So now's probably not the best time to go anyway, so if I go tomorrow morning I will decide tomorrow morning. Let's see how much it is, if it says. It doesn't say, but it's open till 10 p.m. 10 p.m. Oh look, so they have tourist police as well, so it's relatively safe. I mean, it is safe. At no point do I feel unsafe, but it's good that they make an effort for tourism as well. So they really work, not only to kind of give you experiences, particularly with the Almaty day tours, there's plenty of that kind of going around. But also, you have tourist police in Almaty, you've got tourist police here, you've got tourist maps to kind of show you, where the main sites are. I mean, I'm sorry if this video is short or there's not much kind of content going on. I'm probably not going to eat anything because I still feel sick, so food is kind of out of the picture. Locals just kind of stare at you here, and it's just really a lot of walking around. And then on the other side, I think that is their parliament building with the blue dome. So you can, it's beautiful, it's really beautiful, it's aesthetic, they got flowers everywhere, it's colourful, it's very, very clean. Not much traffic, I mean occasionally there is traffic, but lots of shopping malls, but nothing out of the ordinary. I suppose this is the thing. The architecture, maybe, yes. The architecture is impressive, but in terms of like even the shopping malls, there's no shops that you can't get in the UK, and the malls are not that impressive. I mean, that Khan Shatyr one is impressive, but like there's no new shops, there's nothing that you haven't seen before. So yeah, it's kind of like, I see what they're trying to do. They're kind of trying to make it a little bit like Dubai, this new city that's built with shopping and entertainment and loads of that. But I don't know, so it's nice. I would definitely recommend, if you are coming to Kazakhstan, you should come here, because the architecture is very unique and it's a very famous city here in Central Asia, but there's not much to do, so 2 days is perfect. I think the way I did it was, basically I flew into Almaty, and also the reason I've come to Astana is because I'm flying out of Astana, so it kind of makes sense and I wanted to see it. Otherwise, Almaty is also right on the south of Kazakhstan, and then it's kind of like you've only done one small bit of one of the largest countries in the world. And the reason they've moved Astana, and the location of Astana being kind of further north, is basically strategic, because number one, Almaty was becoming too populated and they just couldn't handle it in terms of the traffic and the population, the housing, everything, because it's surrounded by mountains, so there's only a certain amount you can kind of build around, and it's an earthquake zone, so they can't really build up, which is why they moved the capital city, to kind of encourage more people to move and spread across the country. Obviously the problem is it gets very cold in the winter, but also because Kazakhstan's such a huge country surrounded by Russia and China, it's also important to have the capital in a central location, because it kind of mediates any influence from Russia and China. Whereas if the capital was Almaty, right in the south, it's very isolated from the rest of the country. One thing that I have noticed, and this is kind of something that was agreed upon by a lot of the group, is that for some reason, so obviously 30% of Kazakhstan is Russian, kind of Russians that were born here in Kazakhstan, and then you've had an influx after the war as well. The problem that I have, well, I got nothing against anyone personally, no matter what kind of the politics are, but the Russians are really unfriendly here. I don't know why, I don't know what it is, but they really stare at you, and they don't like, it's like they don't like hearing English. They hear English and it really is like a distasteful thing to them. I don't know whether that's because they presume that we have, you know, preconceptions because they are Russian. I mean, I couldn't care less, but I don't know, it's just something I've noticed. It may be true, it may not be true, it may just be the case that that's just Russians, or that it's Kazakh Russians. But anyway, something that I've noticed. Now, this is interesting. These frames, they kind of have these in every main location, not just here in Astana, but if you haven't watched, then you need to watch the videos from Altan Emel and the day trips. They also have these kind of frames. Well, he's ruining my frame. Okay, now he's left my frame. It's like a perfect picture though, and you stand in between and you see if I can get it all in. Look at that. I really like it, actually. I like it when they do that. It makes things a lot easier for tourists, but also it does give you some nice photos. So anyway, you know, one thing about coming to Central Asia as a whole is the people here are so nice. Like, I just was talking to, just in the background, I was talking to this family, and they actually studied in London. I think they probably met in London, the husband and wife, and then they're just like, is there anything you need? I'm like, what could I possibly need, you know? But like, in Europe, no one would ever do that. No one would ever ask, what do you need? How are you enjoying? You know, they really care about how you enjoy and kind of your experience in Central Asia. So it's really, really nice. Okay, so this area is still on the boulevard, but it's nearer to the mall, nearer to my hotel. It's kind of like a circle, like a Corniche almost, with restaurants, and they're all kind of fancy restaurants. This one is what I'm hoping to go to. It's called Darajani. It's a Georgian restaurant that I actually went to in Almaty, and it was nice. So hopefully I'll go there again if there's a seat. Good morning and welcome to another day here in Astana. For those of you who have been concerned, 5 minutes ago, I was on the verge of life or death, you know? I didn't know if I was going to make it. But I'm fine now, thank you for all those who are concerned. So, I'm going to rant this morning. I'm going to have a short rant, I am. and I'm sorry, this is my inner British. It's not, Kazakhstan, I've discussed this before, it's not that cheap as you would expect it to be, considering its neighbours, Uzbekistan and Kyrgyzstan, are very, very affordable. But every time you get in a taxi, if you have a note more than 1,000, a note more than 2,000, which is like £4, less than £4, £3, they just don't have change. And it's so annoying because, as I said, if they were a really, cheap country and then you had a big note, I'd understand. But they just don't ever have change, so it's so irritating. But anyway, I'm here at the Grand Mosque of Astana, and I have forgotten my sunglasses, which is very annoying. But I suppose most of what we're going to see is inside. First thing that comes to mind, now you can see this on the way from the airport, it's a massive, massive mosque. It's absolutely huge. It is the biggest mosque in Central Asia, and the initial thing that springs to mind is it's very similar in terms of like size and grandeur to the Sheikh Zayed Mosque in Abu Dhabi. There was a video that I made previously. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. I'll kind of answer the question for you. The video was, is Baku the new Dubai? The simple answer is no, and it won't ever be. Probably a more suitable question was, is Baku the new Istanbul? Or I don't know, something like that. Astana, on the other hand, I can very much see a Dubai here. I mean, if you look around, this is obviously the surroundings of the mosque. So that big ball there is the Expo Center that we're going to go check out later on. But there is construction everywhere. Like everywhere. And again, as I mentioned before, this is a very, very new city. But they're building everywhere. They're building luxury hotels. They're building all the interesting architecture. You've got these new grand mosques. It is very much like Dubai. And it's so interesting to me because this is in the middle of Kazakhstan, a country that, borders Russia and China. And you've got this modern city that is being built. Anyway, enough of me kind of talking about this. To answer the question, yes, it could very well be the new Dubai. It's got the architecture for it. It doesn't have the beaches, but it does kind of have some like artificial beach clubs. It's got the malls, although the malls I think do need a lot of improvement. And Kazakhstan is distancing itself from Russia to some extent. And for good or for worse, but I think it can help it to kind of modernize, become more Western, because the society is very Western here. So yeah, anyway, but let's go check out the mosque. It's hot today. Astana's not always hot, bear that in mind. Look at the weather before you come here, because as I mentioned before, it gets to minus like 40 degrees in the winter. So you can imagine in the summer, it might not be that hot. It might be raining or whatever. Today it's 32 degrees, so it is hot today, and I think I've actually got lucky with the weather because it's always better that it's sunny rather than raining. Obviously it is a mosque, so you cannot wear shorts, you cannot have your shoulders uncovered for the ladies. You can see everyone's wearing blue, so if you don't have a hijab, if you don't have a headscarf, if you don't have appropriate clothing, they do have these robes that you can borrow for free, and entrance is also free into the mosque. Another thing that's really beautiful about this mosque is obviously you've got the Islamic architecture, you've got kind of the domes and the minarets. You see these wooden patterns behind me, you'll see that on the Kazakh flag. So there's like a Kazakh identity to the mosque as well, which is really, really nice, subtle, well done, but also, I mean, look at my view right now. like it's insane. Like even you can see it from the tiling is the Kazakh pattern. On the side there you'll see that's the flat pattern that they have, but you've also got the Arabic writing there in gold. I don't know, you probably can't see it that well, but again in gold you can see it there. But that is my view right now. And again, I'm probably showing you the same thing over and over again, and so I apologise, but it is really beautiful. Like, it's really, really beautiful. And just like in Sheikh Zayed's mosque, they obviously light up at night, so we are going to come back, and I would recommend the same thing. If you go to Abu Dhabi, if you come here to Astana, come twice. Come once in the day, and then come once in the evening when they turn the lights on and when the lights are fully on and it's dark outside, because it's a different vibe, it's a different atmosphere, but also it's just as beautiful. Look on a lot of things like, oh, what to do in Astana. This mosque doesn't come up at all. I think because it was opened earlier this year. I've seen it because it's come up on my kind of TikTok and Instagram, and it was like one of the main reasons I wanted to come to Astana. And to be honest, I think it's one of the biggest attractions here. So make sure you absolutely must come here if you come to Astana. Right, so we are now going to go and see if we can have lunch in this mall. It's the biggest mall in Kazakhstan, probably in Central Asia. And then we're going to be heading to that big ball. Don't be dirty, everyone. It's the Expo Center from 2017. Oh wow, okay. This is a mall. Well done, Kazakhstan. There's a Korean restaurant. Might go to a Korean restaurant. I can see a Turkish restaurant there. It's getting exciting, guys. It's getting really exciting. And they got a ice skating ring. Now I feel like I'm in Dubai. Okay, so we're now going to explore the Expo Center. This is really interesting. So this is International Techno Park of IT startups. So they're very much interested in innovating here. So it's, yeah, very interesting. There's a nice bridge there. I'm going to go there, take a photo. Okay, well, it's certainly a very interesting complex. So that's just the bridge that we were walking down. But it's basically the IT region. It's the IT hub. It's where they've got the IT university. They've got all the startups here. It's a techno park with the old Expo Center there. And you can see on the other side is the Grand Mosque. I had to take a taxi, which took 5 minutes taxi. It's too far to walk, and it's too hot to walk as well. It takes like 35 minutes if you want to walk from the mosque to here, and it doesn't look very far. This is the thing, it looks like it's so close, and you can see the Expo Center from the mosque, but it's just too big. The roads are too big. That's what I mean. It's like Dubai, you can't walk. I was thinking about it, and I think like Dubai, for example, is very well equipped to host the Olympics, and I think one day you know, hopefully I think Kazakhstan will also be equipped to deal with it. I think they're very much, you know, going in the right direction, going in the same direction, and they'll be able to hopefully host it one day. I think it would be really interesting to have the Olympics in Central Asia, in a region so underrated, so undiscovered. And obviously, you know, this channel, I'm all about educating you guys, right? Politically, Central Asia is a very, very important region, particularly with the war with Russia and Ukraine and the West's kind of feelings towards it. You know, Russia's a very, very resource-rich country. So is Central Asia. Europe is not. So, you know, you have to look to countries like Africa and Central Asia because they have a lot of natural resources. So it makes sense to befriend these countries, but also they're very strategically important because obviously a country like Kazakhstan borders both Russia and China. So, you know, geographically it's a very, very important region. This is quite cool because you can actually step inside. I feel like I'm in a vortex portal, or I don't even know what that means, or like a Swiss cheese. That makes it easier. And there's the Expo. It's really exciting. This is really cool actually. I don't know how well you can see it on the screen, but you can see a reflection of kind of the area around on the sphere. I tried to go in, I don't think you can go in. But can you guys see? Can you see like the area? It's like a whole park area. Yeah, no, they're trying to go in as well, you just can't go in. I don't know why it's closed today. Maybe because it's a Monday. I will try to look. Like I had plans to go to the National Museum of Kazakhstan today, but it's also not open on a Monday, so I don't know if like Monday is just their day that they don't open on anything or what, but anyway, it's fine. Okay, good afternoon. So we are here at the Palace of Peace and Reconciliation, which is basically shaped like a giant pyramid. I don't know who's on top, I don't know who they are, if they're locals or if they're kind of on a tour group, because there are a few tourists here today. I don't know how well you can see it. It's like a glass pyramid. It's very interesting. Opposite this glass pyramid, you've got the monument of Kazakh Eli, is what it's called. I think the mosque is called the Hazrat Sultan Mosque. Again, just nice big empty space with no people. So I'm going to try and go in. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to go in because it doesn't look like you can. Here into this Museum of Art and Reconciliation, sorry, Peace and Reconciliation. They wouldn't let me come in unless I had a guide or something like that. Very strange, I don't know. I think the last tour starts at 6, so I thought they closed at 6, but anyway, so I have to wait for a guide to take me around, which is fine, it's included in the price, but anyway. It's like an office building, so she was saying there's a lot of administration work that goes on here, so you can't wander by yourself because they have offices. So it was okay inside, to be honest. I mean, it was 1,500, which is like maybe £3. So that's the museum, National Museum of Kazakhstan. I might try and go there just to take some photos because it is quite a beautiful building. You get very dystopian vibes here. I don't know. I think maybe this is just with arranged cities like this. I presume you get the same from Washington, DC. You know, just very big planned roads. I mean, I suppose the difference with Astana is that there's mosques everywhere, so it's a bit more comforting. But you know, you get these big like passageways. I feel like I'm Katniss Everdeen walking down, you know, in the capital or something. But I don't know, it's very, very interesting. There's no doubt about it. These kind of planned cities and how they turn out. But yeah, I don't know. There is a little bit of a dystopian vibe about them. But also they are really, really beautiful. They're nice. The accommodation is nicer. I think at night it's probably a different feel, you know, when they start to get more lights on the buildings. And when it's a bit more, there's a bit more atmosphere and it becomes a bit more like Dubai. You know, with taller buildings, more lights, I think then it starts to become more of a utopia kind of thing. But I don't know, it's interesting. It's just a very interesting vibe. You know, I could be very wrong in what I'm saying, but I'm just spreading out my thoughts. Like beautiful flowers. I suppose flowers make a difference as well. It makes things look nice. So I might try and walk to that mosque. I'm actually wearing shorts, so I didn't plan to go inside that mosque. So I'm gonna maybe just go outside and see from the outside, because what I do want to do is go back to the Grand Mosque of Astana this evening for when it's lit up. But like you can see now, I want to go past that monument because there's it's called a Wall of Peace or something like that behind. It's like in the shape of a leaf. But like there's nowhere to cross. So I either walk all that way to the National Museum of Kazakhstan, or I walk all that way to the, I think it's called Hazrat Sultan Mosque, and then cross over and then walk all the way back. So it's really, it's not that easy to get around here by walking. Thankfully it's not that hot. Well actually that's a lie, it is that hot. It's like 30 degrees today, but it can get to 40 and it can get to minus 40, so you know. Okay, good evening. So I was planning on going to the Grand Mosque of Astana again, but I've started to feel a little bit uneasy again on the stomach because I've just had dinner. So I have come to just see the monument of Astana first, just at night, and then I'll go back to my hotel because I am leaving early tomorrow morning. So yeah, it's unfortunate, but sometimes it's just how travel works. Well, I suppose I came here at a good time because the fountains are dancing. They are called the singing fountains, and I guess we know why. So guys, I am back in the hotel and we're just gonna kind of finish the video there, but just to kind of answer the question then, and just to go over a brief kind of summary of Astana and Kazakhstan. It is similar to Dubai. I don't think this... The simple answer is no. Astana is not the new Dubai, because I don't think anywhere will ever be the new Dubai. I think Dubai is Dubai. Very simply, to put it like that. You know, you see all these videos. Is Baku the new Dubai? Is this not? And I know I've made those videos, but the truth is no, it's not. Because even in 50 years' time, if Astana ends up being where Baku, where Dubai is now, Dubai will be 50 years ahead. You know what I mean? Or it will be 100 years ahead, and then Astana still won't beat Dubai. So yeah, it's very, very interesting. It's going in the right direction though. It's going in the direction of Dubai. Kind of with the architecture, with the entertainment. It definitely seems more wealthy than Almaty. But Kazakhstan as a whole, very impressive country, I have to say. It is not as cheap as you would think it would be, because it's a Stan country. It's just not the case here in Kazakhstan. The taxis are cheap. Everything else is kind of pretty standard price. It's not European price, but it is not Southeast Asia price. It is a little bit more expensive. You're spending maybe 10 to 15 pounds on a lunch or dinner, you know, and that's because they don't really have that many budget options here in Astana. A lot of the restaurants are nice restaurants, but it's a great place to be. Almaty is a beautiful city. Astana is also a beautiful city. I do think it is worth coming here, even though a lot of people will tell you don't come here. There are some things that I wanted to do that I didn't get a chance to do. I would have liked to have gone to the Grand Mosque at night. I would have also liked to have gone to the Ascension Cathedral, which is about 20 minutes north of the city. But, you know, I didn't have the time, and unfortunately I got ill. But I would encourage you to come to Astana, and I would encourage you to come to Kazakhstan as a country as well. The good thing about Kazakhstan is it has Air Astana. And Air Astana is your way into the region. And so I think if you are flying Air Astana to, for example, go to Tajikistan or to go to Uzbekistan, it's definitely worth stopping over in Almaty or Astana, or both. But otherwise, I'm going to end the video there. Thank you very much for watching from Kazakhstan. I hope you enjoyed the videos. I hope that this video was not too boring for you guys. But otherwise, I will see you next time from Uzbekistan and Kyrgyzstan. So I'm really excited to share those with you, because those are two of the best countries I've ever been to in my life. So stay tuned for that. But otherwise, see you in the next one.